Well, the month of August is going to be one of the most solid months for Stadia this year, as it sees the release of some good indie titles and some huge AAA games, and what I think could potentially shape up to be a massive month in regards to Stadia releases from stealth drops that we'll touch on towards the end of the video. If you guys are new here, I cover all things Stadia related, so subscribe and hit that like button. So let's start this video with the upcoming pro games for the month of August, and it has some good ones here, starting with the release of Grime. And yes, it's a side-scrolling action-adventure RPG, and despite it being an indie game, it is seeing tons of fanfare right now. There is a lot of hype for this game, and it's a potentially mix of the combat, the interesting feature of taking your enemy's powers, but even the fact that there's loot and leveling. This is not a game that I'm gonna sleep on, and I think you'll enjoy it if you give it a shot. Then we have titles that have already released on Stadia prior but are coming to Pro. We have Valkyrie Chronicles 4. This is a turn-based strategy game and a beloved title since its release back in 2018. Killer Queen Black. This is a player versus player action arcade game featuring crossplay with all the other platforms. Epistory Typing Chronicles is a fun typing adventure. And finally, we have It Came from Space and Ate Our Brains, a fun, colorful couch co-op that I do recommend if you guys find some friends to play with or even solo. That pretty much rounds up the August pro games for Stadia, with a whopping 5 titles added to the service, and it really adds a lot of value if you guys were trying to buy these games individually. And all these games will be available on Stadia Pro on August 1st, except Grime. That one's gonna launch on August 2nd. So our first game coming with an official release date is Foreclosure, and this has a cyberpunk-inspired world, and it's a game that's narrative-driven and provides plenty of action. Here you'll follow the story of Evan as he tries to unravel the conspiracy behind his identity. The visuals are very comic-like and are about as unique as you'll find in today's games, and it's a title that I've looked forward to for quite some time. Reminds me a little bit of Max Payne in a cyberpunk world, if that makes any sense. This one is going to be seeing a release date of August 12th on Stadia. Well, the time has finally embarked on a game that I've been anticipating for ages to come to Stadia in Humankind. This will be Stadia's first 4X title, and I hope many more to come like it in the future. It's a game that is coming with a lot of promise, a lot of hype, as a viable alternative to the Civilization franchise. Now, if you've never played these types of games or you're new to the genre, they are insanely fun, and honestly, it's a type of game that I'd never thought I'd get into, but hundreds of hours later on Civ, and I've become a huge fan of these types of games. Being able to go through the course of history, change time itself, build upon your own culture, religion, history, you start to really get attached to your civilization and all the craziness that ensues, like all the wars and things that you do when you're dealing with other civilizations. Humankind is also set to have a unique Stadia feature in State Share, where I'll be able to find a scenario that I want to share with you guys, and with just a click of a button, you'll resume yourself in that same spot that I was in and hopefully tackle it better than I could. For me, this has been one of my most anticipated games of 2021, and I'm very much looking forward to it, finally sitting down and playing this on August 17th. So another big title coming towards the end of the month is Madden 22, though I will say this year I don't see a ton of new features. There will be something in the franchise mode that now includes staff management, an enhanced scenario engine, and weekly strategy. You'll also be able to share your progress with your face of the franchise and the yard, so I guess that's good news. Outside of that, the big question is going to remain, will we see a next-gen version of Madden 22 on Stadia? And well, we don't know just yet. Madden 21 ran really well and it looked great on Stadia with 4K 60 FPS gameplay, so hopefully we get more of the same thing here. Madden 22 is set to arrive on August 20th. With that, as I do every month, I take a big stab in the dark as to what shadow drops we might get, and I think this month we're going to see a ton of titles from Ubisoft. Not long ago, they announced that we were set to get several classics like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the Far Cry series, Child of Light, and Rayman Legends, and with them just getting rated recently on the ESRB, I think we are about to get these games very, very soon. Some other guesses are the recently announced Darkwood, the top-down horror game, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. I think that could potentially hit this month as well. And finally, this has to be essentially the final final days where we get some form of an announcement of Ark Evolved, a game that was supposed to come early 2021, then pushed back to summer, and we are getting closer to that date as well. So hopefully we get to hear that it's going to come as at least at the minimum a September Pro game, but either way we'll see. With that, guys, let me know which games on this list you're anticipating the most and which games you guys are guessing we'll see this month in August. Either way, guys, I read all your messages and I love checking back on these guesses to see who got it right. If you guys haven't already, subscribe and like the video. I'm Sunny, and as always, I'll see you guys in the clouds.